I'm glad I had that bully, because I might have grown up to be this shy little gutless coward, but I needed that bully to really spur me to stand up for myself. And I did. And that was sort of like an eye-opening thing for me, going, if you confront fear head on,
yes,
it might not work out, but at least you handled it like a superhuman.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Exactly.
Like whether I crash and burn, I mean, I want to always be me, and I always want to follow my heart and follow my brain, and do what I want to do. And with not Mother Teresa by any means, but just with the right instincts, with the right intentions, sure, we can all make mistakes, but I want to try. I want to try with the best of intentions. And if I crash and burn, so be it. At least I tried.
There you go. There you go.
And that's sort of my artsy fartsy answer to your question, I think.
Yeah, you good, brother. Go ahead, Drew.
Sin, how was your training when you first started?
Oh boy. So my original, again, my apologies. Again, I'm too stupid to know how to turn off my notifications. So if my phone and I apologize again, technology and all that jazz. But yeah, so my basics were taught to me by Ron Hutchinson, the same dude that taught Edge, Christian, Joe Legend, Rhino, Swinger. I was in the same class with like Trish Stratus and Gail Kim. By the way, those two ladies have bigger balls than just about all the dudes that were in the class. Like those two.
Wow.
They are awesome. Like they can go. And so Hutchinson is a great guy, nice guy, but he's a, pretty heavy duty trainer. Beth Phoenix as well. How could I forget Beth? He also trained Beth. And he's awesome. And like, so I've had other trainers teach me psychology down the road, like your Dr. Toms, Rick Rogers, Al Snow. And then, I think it's no secret, like I was kind of mentored by Jake the Snake. So my psychology is on point, but my basic training from Ron Hutchinson was so hard knocks. And I mean, as you know, Mr. Chili Willy, we can't really teach them the way we were taught, because like it's like you said, I'm gonna switch the heat on you, and a little too so we can't do that these days. But I think we turned out all right. Like I think I heard this great quote: "Hard times begets good people. Good people beget good times. Good times begets weak people." So I think we turned out all right because we came up hard, and I think a lot of these, know-it-all, know-nothings are running their gums, being entitled and soft because they have it so easy. I think so many great people, so many good people died on the battlefield, so these idiots can run their yaps on Twitter.
Right.
That's how I can see it. And if somebody wants to get mad at me for saying that, well,
Fuck him,
But yeah, getting back to the training. So Hutchinson, he trained us really hard. I've told so many people over the years, like my first wrestling class, my first day of training with Ron Hutchinson was harsher than my very first black belt grading. And that was no freaking cakewalk. Wow. I remember Hutchinson, so like, and that grading, dude, I fought 3-on-1 full contact. I busted cinder blocks with my bare knuckles, and not the Hollywood breakaway ones. I mean, proper cinder blocks and all sorts of crazy stuff. And Hutchinson's class was harder. Wow. He had us training, I mean, like hard training. And he said, nobody gets a water break until somebody pukes. And so at about 3.5 hours later, somebody yacked, so we got a 2-minute water break. He said, class is not over until somebody quits. Like he had all our money up front. So, if he broke us, there's no refunds. He's not Walmart, So about 4 hours and 45 minutes later, somebody tapped out, said, I'm never fucking coming back. So that was our first day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
Damn. Yeah. Nice. That sound like when I tried up with a WCW power plant with Buddy Lee Parker, man. I mean, we had about 30 guys in it. We had 30 guys start out, you know what I mean? After like 3 or 4 days, it was only 3 of us left, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, you stood the time, like, you went in there without any quit in you, and then look what you went on to do, Yeah. So I think that's the whole thing is like, they want special. And again, like I'm down with all like modern day stuff. I got I'm easygoing and I want everybody to have fun and stuff. But, when they say, oh, identify wrestling is for everybody. I mean, it's for everybody to enjoy. It's not for everybody to do, because if it was that easy, why would we all be doing it? Like, if you like it, buy a fucking ticket. Otherwise, like, I can't tell you how many, and I'm sure you've seen a million of them, like dudes come in like, what are you thinking? Like, well, I did it on a video game. Like, well, real life is a little bit different,
Yeah.
I want to say trouble, but
I got a question. What made you pick the name Kizarny? I mean, how did that come about? And explain to some people out there who doesn't really understand what that means.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay, so Kizarny was not my idea. Kizarny was Vince McMahon's idea.
So okay.
I was SINN BODI. My original name, as I trained with Hutchinson, was Sin. And like Hutchinson he had told us always, like from day one, you're going to start your first match, you're going to be a babyface. You're going to start as a babyface because as a green guy, you need somebody more experienced to lead you. And
exactly.
So that's how he always would tell us. And then a week before I had my first match, he goes, I'm really shy on heels, so you're going to need to start to be a heel. So think of a name. Oh shit. Okay. All right. Well. So my inner artsy hippiness, I picked a name that I thought binds all of us: black, white, gay, straight, red, blue, Muslim, Christian, anarchy, atheist, whatever, and that's sin. So I figured that's what binds us together. Right. So that's what I picked. And then years and years later, when I got hired by WWE, I didn't want to just go. And Hutchinson kind of put on original sin, so it sounded like you could understand what it was. Because if you just said sin by itself, you'd be like, what? Sam, Slappy. Right. Cindy, what is it? Right. So when you say original sin, they're like, oh, okay, you get it. But I thought the name was too cartoony, and so when I went to FCW for WWE, I picked Bodie because it's the bank robbing surfer hippie dude from Point Break, Patrick Swayze. And I just Yeah, I remember as a kid. Yeah, what a cool character! Like he didn't want to hurt anybody. He was just like a polite anarchist. Right. He didn't want to put up with all the sheep bullshit, like all this red and blue, all this making everybody hate each other. Like he didn't fall for any of that. He just wanted to be himself. Right. And I thought that was really badass. And so hence SINN BODI. But when I got brought up from FCW to WWE to SmackDown, I had my meeting with Vince, and he knew I was a circus guy, a carnival guy. So he came up with Kizarny, which is Carney for Carney. And so that's what exactly came from. So I just said, yes, boss. Okay. Yes, sir. I think a lot of the young guys these days, my dogs are all heels there, so they're going to do run-ins on this podcast. I got one giant, big, huge one. Who's the sweetest one? All the little.
There you go.
I have they're all rescues. So me and Mochi, relax, bro. She's like,
that's awesome.
The worst off of all our rescues. Like somebody had done unspeakable things to this little critter at 3 weeks old, put her in a coma from beating her up so bad.
My God.
Stepdaughter raised her, like she was a vet, raised her at where the animal was, where the dog Mochi was surrendered. And she raised her out of a coma, and then we adopted her at 6 weeks. So she's really sweet, but she goes from baby to heel really quick. Her medulla oblongata is a little bit on the fritz. So she goes hero to hero real quick. So,
real fast.
Like if you tell her bug or something, or she'll look up in the air, she's like, what bug? I gotta eat bug. She moves up really quick. So first little thing she sees, there's all these little mockingbirds in the front of my house, and they torment all the dogs. They're like, yay, motherfuckers, we're over here. What can you do? They get so pissed off. They get so worked over it. But anyway.
Go ahead, Andrew.
I got you, man. Sin, what was your best experience in England when you went in 2001?
Oh boy. So to this day, I love wrestling overseas and in England, across the pond. The fans are crazy, so I love that. I love working with excitable fans. As you would know, Mr. Chili Willy, extreme fans make for extreme times. So
definitely.
just a crazy MFers over there, which is awesome. I mean, like, they're really into it. But I would say, over the years, like you would know, just building those brotherhood friendships with guys and girls along the way, and having like long lasting pals, guys that you could see for like, you don't see them for a year or 10 years. And then you pick up right where you left off, and you're joking the same jokes and all that jazz. And so I would say, out of all the fun adventures I had over there, just to be honest, as corny as it sounds, just, having some good friendships, like, Chick Cullen was one of the guys that really took his time and showed me and Nigel McGuinness when we were both so green as goose shit. And he took his time. He's a really great Scottish wrestler, and he would show us lots of stuff, and we would pick his brain until he was fed up of us. And just lots of guys like that. Joe Legend was always a cool dude. He helped break me in Ontario, and then he was there when I went over there. Wow. So we worked or we tagged, and he always kind of kept me under his wing. And so I'll always be forever grateful to Just Joe Legend, the Joe.
Yeah. Good Joe.
Good dude. And just having fun, just, silly adventures, and I think weirdly, like, England is kind of like I dropped this. It's almost like a Wild West, as far you can kind of get away with more over there than you can over here, or than you could anyway. Like now it's pretty stringent, but there you can kind of push the envelope a little bit. And I'm not like, I can do extreme stuff and all that stuff, and I'm the warlord of weird. I should do something weird and crazy and whatever, but I'm a worker. Like I want to tell stories. I want to make both the good guy and the bad guy look as good as possible. I want the bad guy to look diabolical and hated. I want the good guy to look like a hero, and I want the fans to watch that, whether I'm the good guy or I'm the bad guy. I want the fans to be just begging for that good guy to get up and kick the bad guy's ass. And those fans did it so well over there. I remember early on, like this would have to be maybe 2001-ish. I was wrestling Skull Murphy, who was one of like Fit Finley's early main tag partners. So he's a tough bloke when his partner.
Oh, yeah.
And so all the local British guys were scared shitless of Skull Murphy. So I met him this one night in Croydon, England. And so I walk into his dressing room, say, "Mr. Murphy, sir, I'm working you tonight at your convenience. I'm happy to talk about whatever you'd like. I'm here for you, whatever you'd like to do. I'm good to go, whatever you want, sir." And he just kind of goes, all right. Well, I don't want to talk just yet. Come back a little bit later then, mate. And I'm like, okay, yes, sir, Mr. Murphy, sir. So come back, whenever, I don't know, half hour later, whatever it is, closer getting to the show. "Oh, I'm not ready to talk just yet, love. Let's talk a little." I'm like, all right. Yes, sir. And literally 2 minutes before the show starts, I want to say we're maybe the second or third match. So I'm kind of like, again, the greenhorn in me is kind of like, oh, I was taught still, there's comfort in kind of knowing a few things and all that, especially when you're new. I think that's why today so many guys want to just map out so much stuff, because there's comfort in it not being spontaneous.
Right.
Spontaneous to the fans, but not to them. And I like to work. I like to go feel out. Like if I left to my own devices, the less we talk in the back, the happier I am.
Yep, exactly.
So I go up to Skull, like literally 2 minutes before the show. I'm like, "Did you want to talk at all, sir? Or shall I just see you out there? Like whatever you would like." I'm just being super sweet, And he goes, "Well, really, mate, I don't like to call a whole lot. Because you can call it. If I like it, we'll do it. If I don't like it, I'll shut you down."
Damn.
And so just trying to be playful, be friendly, just to try to build a little bit of rapport. I just thought just to kind of be friendly. So I said, "Okay, Mr. Murphy, no problem, sir." I said, but, and again, I was just trying to, and I use this all the time on younger guys in a different way. I was just doing this really more as a way just to sort of, just maybe kind of be personal with them, personable, make them kind of giggle or something. So I just said something to the effect of like, "All right, well, see you out there, sir. Thank you. If you just, whatever you do, sir, please don't laugh, because if you laugh, I'll laugh." That was giggle, you know. And he just goes, "Oh, mate," he goes, "I don't pop out there. You're never gonna pop me, mate." I go, "Okay, all right, sweet." So it wasn't my intention to go out there and pop him like with like a young nervous guy that I would lead nowadays. I was just trying to just build a little bit of rapport, just being silly and stuff. So we get out there and we're calling back and forth, and we're really just speaking wrestling. We're really not calling. We're just doing, which is cool with me. And so he gets me down in this gator roll deal, and the referee slides down, kind of baseball slides beside me so he's laying kind of on his ribs next to me, like, you wanna give up or whatever. And he's laying parallel to underneath the bottom rope. Like he's like kind of like, where like you'd position yourself to take a Scotty 2 Hotty worm and you're laying parallel to the ropes. He kind of was like that, but almost right underneath the ropes. He's like, "Do you give up? Are you ready to tap out? Whatever." And I'm like, "No." And I was reaching for him to look like I was trying to get out of Skull's hole, but I put my hand on his chest and I put my foot on his belly, and ever so gently I gave him a little tug, and I shoved him, and he kind of rolled out of the ring and he flopped down onto the ring. And I did it totally on purpose, just being silly, you know. And all I hear is like in my ear, like Skull's got me in this fucking gator hold, and he goes, good one, love. All right, you fucking. So I just kind of learned right there that just having a rapport and just working and just having fun is kind of a paramount thing. I mean, as you would know, how many times you've been in a locker room when some dude comes over and they mean it out of full respect, but they come over and they go to reach your hand, they look all scared.
Oh yeah.
Run away.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Who wants to be around that? Like, I get that you're right, but just relax. Like, I want to be around dudes. I want to be around people that can hang out, like guys or girls, whoever. But like, "Hey man, nice to meet you, brother. Oh, big fan, man. Loved all your stuff at ECW, man. I can't wait to get out there and dance with you. What's going on, dude? You know any good steak?
Right.
Like, just I want to be able to rap with a dude and just be comfortable, and for them to be comfortable with me. So I hate that, and I'm sure I was there. I'm sure nice to meet you, sir, and then fucked off. You know, I think I did that until that night, and then after
I did too.
Yeah, it was kind of like a rude awakening, where you just kind of teach yourself a little lesson in wrestling as in life, like just, I think the moral of the story is be a dude, Yeah.
There you go.
I got a question for you. When I was in OVW after I got out of the military. I went to OVW 2004, 2005. I think. So anyway, when did you go to OVW, or you went straight to Florida?
I got hired for FCW out of OVW.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll always have a soft place in my heart for OVW. Like, it was definitely where I got my biggest opportunity. And this is one of my deals. This is Cookie. She is the fun police. As soon as all the other dogs are having fun, she shuts it down. She's
so beautiful. She's cute.
Like, "Oh, you can have fun," and she barks and she squawks. But anyway. But yeah, OVW. So I went there around 2006. I'd wrestled Al Sherman was the head of OVW at the time, and I had wrestled Al a few times on independent shows in Canada and the US. And he was just like, "Hey man, I think you got something really good here. You should come to OVW. I'm the head trainer there now, and I got all these dudes that I got to keep an eye on." He goes, "At least I know like you're responsible and you're fun and you can work safe. Maybe you could do me a favor, and like I could put you with one of my guys, so it's just one less dude I have to worry about. And then at the same time, hopefully maybe you could get a job out of it, because those tapes go to Vince every week. So, you could help me and then I could help you." And I thought, okay, all right, that sounds pretty awesome, sure. And I was literally at that time toying with moving to England full time. I really enjoyed wrestling in England. And then I kind of was weighing out the pros and the cons. And I just thought, well, if I wrestled in England at that stage of the game, like I could wrestle every night, but it was almost like, I don't know how great the TV opportunities were and whatever. Whereas at least here with Al, I knew Al, and the tapes were going to Vince. So that's the company I wanted to do. That's the company I watched since I was a kid. So that's the path that I took. So when I called Al back to say, yeah, I want to do it, he wouldn't answer his phone. So he's the worst at answering his phone. So I'd be like, "Hey Al, it's Sin. Yeah, I want to come in. Can you let me know when you want me and all this stuff?" And I hear nothing. 3 or 4 calls, nothing. and he had on his answering machine at the time, I don't know how politically correct it is to say this now, but he had on his answering machine at the time that Quagmire character from like Family Guy or whatever. And the answering machine just said something like, hey, if you're a guy that wants to learn how to wrestle, buzz off. But if you're an 18-year-old girl, giggity, giggity, you know, whatever. So I just remember saying exactly in this voice that I'm talking to you now, I'm like, hey, Al, I'm an 18-year-old girl and I'm interested in learning how to wrestle. 10 seconds laughing. And so I did, and about 7 months later, I was hired by Nova, by Mike Bucci to go to Florida, and then I went to SmackDown from Florida.
Nice. Okay.
Now,
Nice.
Sin, your TNA run, what's the story behind you being escorted off the lot in Universal Studios for setting off fireworks around your neck?
Okay.
What?
So that was like I spent time at TNA in the early years. Like we did all the New Church stuff, me and Wolfie D and Jim Mitchell and Shane Douglas and everybody. And so this is after that. This is a few years after that where we're coming in just to do one of those one night stand pay-per-views, one night only pay-per-views.
Okay.
And Al Snow had called me up and he was just like, hey, Sinny, you want to come and do one of these pay-per-views? It was either he wanted to do it was either a hardcore pay-per-view or a tag team pay-per-view. And I think what we ended up doing was a tag team on a hardcore pay-per-view. So it was like a hardcore tag team against LAX. Okay. So he goes, what kind of weird shit can you bring to the table? I'm like, well, I can do firecracker tie, and I can do the beds and nails, and I can do the darts, and I can drink, boiling water and thumbtacks. I can do all these different dumb things. He goes, all right, awesome, bring it, just bring it. He goes, we'll do some of it. I don't know which ones, but we'll do some. So I go, okay. And I remember him popping, pardon the pun, for the fireworks tie. So I'm like, okay. So he asked for it. I'm like, all right. So, I did it all over the place with zero incident, with no problem. So D'Lo was the agent that night, and Al was kind of like, I guess he was like the guy that booked the talent for the shows. They were kind of spitting out these pay-per-views where they'd film like 2 or 3 of them in a day just to fulfill their like overseas obligations for pay-per-view companies or something like that. I don't know exactly. Something like that. So they're spitting these things out and they're really putting minimal effort onto what the content is. So like the agents were so run thin, they're just tired. Like I remember D'Lo was exhausted. He's like, dog, just we'll do whatever. I don't care. I'm like, okay. So I looked at Wolfie and I looked at Homicide and Hernandez, and we're just, all right, okay, we'll just see you out there then. Fuck it. We'll just go beat the shit out of each other in a working fashion, and there you go. Whatever. They didn't give us very much supply in weapons or whatever, even though it's a hardcore match. So whatever we found around ringside is all it was. Like we didn't have jack shit planned. We just like, all right, if there's stuff, we'll just use the stuff. Like that's all the effort was put into it because we weren't told anything. So I'm thinking, well, then I'll just do a couple of my things. So I had the firecracker tie. So I'm like, okay. So I put it on. I literally was walking around with it for like 45 minutes to an hour around my neck. And again, Al Snow had Iggy'd it. Like he said, yeah, I love it. Yeah, bring it, do it. So, so whatever. So light these things off. And I was on the stage, but how like those fireworks work is they shoot directional and they kind of go out. Like they shoot out. So if it's on me, like if I get 1 or 2 on me, it's like I'm not a macho dude, but I got a high threshold. So it's like, okay, whatever. But for the most part, it goes this way. So like I just turn my face, I put my beard up into my mouth, so this doesn't turn into a giant candle wick. And those TNT detonators, So, pop, 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 done. It's loud. It makes the smoke, whatever. No problem. So I'm on this giant stage where I guess there's pyro underneath me. So I didn't know that. So, oops, nobody telling me anything. Walking around, walking by all these producers and whoever, nobody's saying anything. So I'm just thinking, okay, all right. They hired a dude that performs as the Warlord of Weird. What do you fucking expect?
Right, exactly.
When you call me to do, okay, let's add to that. You call a dude named the Warlord of Weird to wrestle on a hardcore pay-per-view. Okay, all right, you know. So here I am walking around. I see all these different people. Hey, dude. Hey, whoever. Hey, what's going on? Hey, how are you? Hey, blah, blah, blah. You know. So nobody's saying anything about it. Al Snow, right? Didn't say nothing about it. D'Lo was standing there talking to me. He didn't say nothing about it. Whatever. So Bruce Pritchard, when it went off, was livid, like just freaking livid. And the cameraman, some camera dude that I didn't know, you know, whatever. As I would, like, he didn't say it at the beginning of the match. Like, as I was walking out of the match, this dude starts yelling at me. I'm just looking at him like, fuck away from me. Like, I don't know who you are. Like, why are you yelling at me? Like, out of my space, out of my personal space, motherfucker. You know, I'm a pretty nice dude, but you know, we're wrestlers and circus lions. Like,
yeah.
Poke a fucking bear. You know, like, what do you want? So little camera dude, like, you didn't like something? I couldn't hear what he's saying. He's just like, you motherfucker, whatever he was saying. I'm like, go fuck yourself. Like, get out of my face. And I walked in the back, and then I think it was Al who's just like, you got to get out of here. You're in big trouble. I'm like,
man,
what did I do? And he goes, oh, we're supposed to do that. I'm like, you told me to do that. He goes, I know, but still, you gotta get the money. So I just didn't want to throw Al under the bus. So I'm like, all right, what's the worst thing they're going to do? Not book me again for another fucking 10 years? You know?
Right.
So like, I had wrestled for them, and like, I want to say like all the New Church stuff was around between 03 and 05. And this was, I want to say, I don't know what year. Had to be 8-9 years after the fact, whatever it was. So I was just, you know, again, I'm a nice person and I'm a professional, but at the same time, like, poke a bear. You know, I'm like, you know, like, so I see all these people that are getting opportunities and I'm not working there. So, you know, like, what again? They're not going to book me for another 10 years? You know, like, fuck off. So I was just like, all right, whatever. And then Bruce came up to me and was just like, what were you doing? I'm like, and I just tried telling him, like, it was just a fucking gag. I do this all the time. Like, nobody said anything otherwise. I wore this shit, and I didn't want to throw Al under the bus, and I didn't. So I just was like, I was walking around in the back. Nobody said anything. He's like, you got to check with this shit. I'm like, well, I apologize. I didn't mean to do anything wrong. You know, I was just trying to give your audience a fun show. And then he's like, well, he goes, now that you explain it to me, I'm a lot more relaxed about it. And the cameraman too was a lot more relaxed about it. He's like, oh, I didn't realize that's what it was. That's all it was. You really freaked me out because I didn't know what it was. I'm like, yeah, what do you think I'm gonna do? I'm not a super villain. I'm a fucking wrestler. I'm there to like, you know, I'm there to get some heat and, you know, show that I'm this crazy bastard. And then the good guys have this evil, crazy bastard to go over on. Like, that's the plight of the wrestling villain, to let the good guy, you know, look like the good guy. So if I'm just this like useless sack of shit, then who'd they beat? But if I'm this ominous bad motherfucker, then they beat an ominous bad motherfucker. End of story. And so Bruce was like, okay, all right, I get it now, but still, like, just, you got to ask permission. I'm like, okay. And again, I just didn't want to throw Al on the bus. And then the camera guy was just like, oh yeah, I'm totally cool with that. I just didn't know what you were doing, and it scared the shit out of me. I go, because there's pyro under there. And I said, well, I didn't realize that. I'm sorry. So I'm like, okay, cool. And they're like, but in our haste, we did, I guess there were like the cops were called because they thought somebody did some terrorist shit or something. Like, it totally was like way blown out of proportion. So they're like, yeah, you better just get the fuck out of here before those cops arrive or whatever.
Really?
And so I'm just like, all right, I got my paycheck and fucked off. That was it.
There you go, man. Crazy. How dangerous was it with the pyro being up under you?
Well, again, like, I stood on the edge of the ramp. So like, to me, I was already clear of anything of that. You know, I'm more thinking I want to make sure that I don't get it in the ring. And primarily, I don't want to get it on the fans. So I directionally have it aimed down the ramp. That way it doesn't go off to the sides to the people like on the other side of the guardrails. And there you go. I wasn't thinking about any of the pyro. To me, it's just a silly little cheap parlor trick that sounds loud and makes the, you know, the sulfury smoke or whatever. So yeah, I mean, I'll definitely, like, I did it. So of course I'm a responsible adult. I'll say, yeah, fuck, maybe I should have went the extra mile and double, triple, quadruple checked that shit. I just figured when they called me and said, hey, we need a weird guy to come and do some scary, weird shit on a hardcore pay-per-view. And I told them, hell, I could do this, this, and this. And they go, yeah. I thought, all right, well, there's as much Iggy as I need.
Right.
You know, like if you're going to do something crazy in an ECW show, are you going to stop, put a timeout, go run back and ask Paul Heyman, hey, is it cool if I gig, or is it cool if I hit this guy?
Hell no.
You're just going to be flying by the seat of your pants and doing your thing.
You're just going to do it, yeah.
I felt like I did my due diligence. You know, I felt like, well, I asked Al. He said, yeah, Grant, sounds great, cool. And then again, my agent D'Lo was there. He didn't say shit about it. He's like looking right at me. I'm wearing this giant fucking firecracker tie thing. So I'm like, okay, well, all right. So there you go. So,
wow.
Oops,
There you
Daisy.
go.
I love you.
I got a quick question. So if you are, you work with TNA now, what about now? If Scotty would call you back, would you go to Impact or would you go to AEW because Jake Roberts is there? What if WWE called you? Which out of the three promotions, not leaving out Ring of Honor, of course, in Japan, but out of the three that I mentioned, which one would you prefer to go to?
Well, it's an awesome question. TNA was my first break, and Scott D'Amore was the guy that gave me that break. So I have a lot of love and respect for Scott, who I affectionately refer to as the Archie Bunker of sports entertainment.
Oh man, Scott.
But I think watching their show, and there's a lot of wonderful wrestlers on the show, I think it's very hard for me to watch when they don't have like any of that ambient sound in the background like AEW or WWE does. When they're just wrestling like a Charlie Chaplin match, it's very hard for me to enjoy it, even though I know the guys and girls are busting their asses. Just to
like
hear
practice.
Yeah, and like I can wrestle in front of no crowd. I've done it plenty. It doesn't trip me out. You know, like if you're in a bar fight, you don't wait for the whole crowd. You just lock in on the dude and you go.
Yeah.
So I just, in a working fashion, that's how I would handle, you know, a cinematic match or a Twitch match that is like just live to air with no fans, you know, due to all this like COVID restrictions and all that stuff. So I can wrestle an empty arena match, no problem. But just the end produced product here, watching it without the crowd cheering or just even ambient noise, to me, it's like watching a horror movie without the ding, 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 ding. You know, you need that horror mood music to set the tone, you know? So to me, that's the hardest part about watching Impact. And it's not for lack of talent. It's just the lack of that ambient sound. As far as AEW or WWE, well, I grew up watching WWF. Like that's where my heart is as a little kid. And to this day, I'm in good standing with them. Like I've guest coached for them.
Oh, wow. So
I'm not, and hopefully again, you know, with all this COVID nightmare, hopefully they'll be behind us soon. And you know, I don't want to wreck anything as far as a relationship with me doing coaching stuff there. Like I'm not old, but I'm not young either. So like I can wrestle and I can hang with any dude on the planet right now. I don't care if that sounds cocky or dickish. There ain't a motherfucker on this planet I can't go toe to toe with. Not a 21-year-old. I mean, there's guys that can do flips better than I can do flips. There's guys that are taller than me. There's guys that have more abs than me. Creatively, I'll go toe to toe with anybody. And as far as heart and stamina in the ring and his work rate, I'll go toe to toe with any motherfucker on this planet. I don't care if you're a legend or an indie darling or whatever you are, whatever company you're at. But at the same time, so I think I could hang with anybody at AEW. I would love to. I think I'd feel like Demolition Man there. Like, come here, shiny, let me punch you out of the sky and put a fucking sugar hold on you in a working fashion. and you know, let's go to work. You know, and I'm down to blend styles. Like I'm not an old school guy that's going to squawk on a new school style. I'm Jeet Kune Do, man. I'm water. I'm versatile. I'll work any style. I'll work with anybody. I'll blend my style with yours. So I think on that note, AEW is a really wonderful place. And I think me coaching at, you know, in Orlando or some such, that I have been doing that again before the COVID stuff or whatever. So I guess it would just depend on really, to be honest, I think my dreams are going to run second fiddle to feeding my family. Like COVID has,
Right.
you know, I'm not the only one that COVID has robbed of so much income.
Yeah.
So like before COVID, I was traveling the world every week, wrestling 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week, different states, provinces, countries, cities. Like I'm all over the damn place.
Wow.
And now, once or twice, 3 times a month, if I'm lucky, you know, so finding ways like, you know, taking donations to do match reviews on that Snake Pit, or selling these little like refurbished little toys from when I was a kid, like those old rubber wrestlers from the 80s. Like I'll try to top shop them and refurbish them and make them into new guys, and I sell those and make a few bucks, but it puts nowhere near the dent of lost income from COVID. So really, I guess it would come down to, you know, who would make a serious offer. Who's going to help me feed my family? You know, is that going to be Hunter or is that going to be Cody? You know, I respect them both. I respect both companies. I think both companies have awesome things to offer the fans, the industry. Same with Impact and like you said, ROH, you know, New Japan, CMLL, all these places, they're all wonderful places. Realistically, where would I see? Like I know Jake wants me at AEW. I know
that's what I was thinking, because you're good friends with Jake, so I was thinking, you know, maybe that's you know, something or an idea there.
I mean, but I will say, like, you know, when I was at SmackDown as Kizarny, it was such a different landscape, you know, stress-wise, politics-wise. But my time as a coach at that PC was awesome. Like everybody was awesome. Like there wasn't a shithead anywhere. There wasn't like, I mean, Triple H was awesome. Shawn Michaels was awesome. Matt Bloom was awesome. Sarah Amato was awesome.
That's great.
Scotty Tuhati, Johnny Moss, you name it. All those coaches are awesome, and all the talent was so hungry to learn. Hey, coach, what's going on, coach? How are you, coach? You know, just an amazing place. I remember giggling with Triple H. He's just like, I was kind of shaking my head, giggling. He's like, "What's up?" And I go, "Man, this is like Toys R Us. Holy shit!" Like, you know, and he giggled. He's like, "I know."
Wow.
So I think my heart is at all of these companies. My heart is in pro wrestling, and not to sound cheesy or corny or to try to placate everybody. That's not my intention. My intention is just to be pure to my brain and pure to my heart. Like I love this shit. I fucking love it. Whichever company was to give me a serious offer, so A, I could feed my family because that's where my head's at, and B, where I can live up my dreams, and whether that's Coach Bodie at the PC or whether that's SINN BOHDI wreaking hell in an AEW ring or an Impact ring or a New Japan ring. If they're paying, I'm playing, because my kid needs to eat. My kids' dance lessons are expensive. My wife deserves great things, and all my animal rescue critters, as loud and as obnoxious as they are, they all deserve kibble and kitty litter and you know, a nice backyard to play in and all this stuff. So there's my answer. Whoever's cutting the right check is
okay. Gets thanks. Yeah.
There you go. Hey, SINN.
Yeah, makes sense.
I mean, I could try to do some political answer or whatever, but that, to me, that's my honest answer. And I think I've always
of course,
you know, get in trouble truthfully.
It all boils down to that money.
That's right.
You know, like I think AEW is a company that's a little bit more, you know, I don't know what the right word is to describe it, but like it's that younger kind of Me Too, you know, anything will fly kind of generation where you know, Vince wants what he wants, Hunter wants what he wants. You know, it's booked a little bit more, not a structure isn't the right word, but like they have sort of an idea of what they want, where AEW is kind of more just a rainbow of different things.
Yeah, sure.
You know, the WWE is for sure versatile too, but I think they do have more of a system, you know. So I think I have different things to offer to either of those places. Like if Hunter said, "Hey, would you wrestle tomorrow?" I'd say, "Fuck yeah, I would." You know. But I think at AEW, you know, I think there's creative things to have at both companies, I guess, and all companies really is what I'm trying to say. But again, long story short, whoever's going to put that serious offer down, because again, as much as SINN BOHDI wants to live his wrestling dreams, even more so, SINN BOHDI, the dad and the husband, wants to feed his family.
There you go.
Right. Nice.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Sin, what did you think personally of the Kizarny gimmick?
So I chose to look like that. It wasn't my first pick on names, but I was super flattered that Vince would take a chance on me. Like, I got zero ill will to Vince or WWE. Like, thank you very much, Uncle Vince, for the opportunity. I wish it worked out better. I think I have so many, like, dude, if I had a nickel for every fan or wrestler or promoter or agent that has said, man, if you're doing now, well, back then, you know, you'd have been like this crazy, like you'd have been the Abdullah the Butcher of WWE, you know.
Right.
And the thing was, is like, I think it was not the right character for the right time in history. Like, it was a bizarre character. And even though, like, I mean, I was really quite PG. That's what they wanted. Like, I was trying to be what they wanted. And even though it was a circus character, it wasn't me. Like, it was me in Florida at FCW being produced by Dusty Rhodes and Dr. Tom. Like, that was me as SINN BOHDI in FCW, and Kizarny in FCW, just with the different name. Like, I was working the way I wanted to work. I was speaking the way I wanted to speak. Vince definitely had a big hankering for me to be super duper babyface. And at the time, and now ironically, as scary and as creepy as I can get, 9 out of 10 times I wrestle as a freaking babyface. So, you know, and I've learned to do that, and I've learned to be like, you're the same character, baby or heel. You just putting the same stuff in different places to get different emotional responses. You know, like Randy Orton can get over as a babyface hitting that sweet drop kick and that power slam and that RKO, or he can get diabolical heat doing the exact same moves in different places in the match. So I'm smart enough as a worker to know that now, but back then, I was like, not any excuse. It's just on my experience up until then, I was like 95% always a bad guy. So I was just super cozy with being a bad guy, being a fun to hate bad guy. My high flying would have been in giant bumps for the baby faces. Like, I can't even spell moonsault, but you could give me the giant backdrop. You could clothesline me ass over tea kettle backwards over the top rope to the concrete. I could do all sorts of that kind of stuff. And like, really, my bumps were my high flying. So I was like a baby's heel. Like, I really patted myself after guys like Cowboy Bob and Adrian Adonis, and just heels that went out to get heat and to make your baby face look like a fucking hero and make you look like having no redeeming qualities. You're diabolical, you're mean, you're gutless, you're opportunistic. You're Wile E. Coyote when you need to be. You're serious when you need to be. So I sort of had my head wrapped around that. And then I remember getting into the ring just to roll around one day at SmackDown. Me and Arn Anderson were getting in the ring. He's like, "All right, let's get in there. Let's find out what you are. Let's find you a move set." Because I said, like, "Arn, I'm a kick punch heel." Like, and he's like, "I know Vince wants you to be a babyface." I'm like, "I know." I'm like, "What do we do?" And he's like, "Oh, let's go find out some shit." I'm like, "All right." So we get in there, and I was working around with, I don't know, I want to say maybe Brian Myers and a couple other guys, Heath Slater maybe, and guys like that, and just running around, just bullshitting in the ring. And a couple of things I would do is like, he's like, "I think that's really good." Like, this is Arn. He's like, "I think that's really good, and that's funny, and that's this and that and it's that. I think if you do that in the ring, I think Vince will fire us both." Which is like, I get that he was concerned about, you know, me being a babyface and not pissing off Vince or doing something too avant-garde or whatever, but I'm pretty sure you don't want another so-and-so. You want a brand new me. Like, you don't want me to be, you know, another Randy Orton or another Undertaker or another whomever. You want me to be the first me. So let's go find you. You know, so I very much advocate that in you know, as I coach now, you know, again, as Dr. Tom would say, like, I'm a good coach because I made every fucking mistake under the sun. You know, so let me use that as a teaching tool to help y'all, you know, navigate some of those mistakes so you can go on and make your own other mistakes, but not without the knowledge of these mistakes and the things that actually worked well. Like, I, God forbid, did a few things that worked out pretty cool. So if you can utilize that stuff too as a coach, then great. But like, So I think, I'm a big bed. I can make my bed and sleep in it. But I think at that time, if I was a little more comfortable, because I was just so enamored, I was like seeing everything through rose-colored glasses going, oh my God, I'm at the company I grew up watching as a kid. None of these guys can do no wrong. They obviously have my best interest at heart, because why else would I be here? But meanwhile, shit rolls downhill. And, sometimes, Arn was great to me. A lot of the producers were great to me. A lot of the wrestlers were great to me. And then there was some that weren't, so you could tell those were the guys that were insecure, wanting to keep their spots, and they give you maybe misinformation to kind of maybe so you'd fuck up or whatever.
Man.
So it was shark infested waters comboed with really, really friendly waters,
Wow.
so you just never knew what you were kind of going to get. And you really had to have your worker sense on point. But I was just so like, man, that's a horseman. Man, that's a dragon. That's a this, that's a that. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. I love this shit.
Right.
I feel like I was a 25-year-old, I was a 30-year-old, 10-year-old. Like, I'm like, this is fucking awesome. So like now, anywhere I go, I try to have fun. I always want to be professional. I always want to be polite. I always want to hear, what my opponent wants to do. I want to try to make it work as best I can. What the promoter wants, I try to make it best I can. That's all I ever did at WWE. And I'm sorry that it didn't work out, but I was set there. I promise you, on my kid's life, I just wanted to do right by Vince and WWE and myself, and make that company money and make myself money and entertain fans. And, and it wasn't in the cards, but now, I've gone back since as a coach. So like having a dude like Hunter, like Triple H.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
That's really nice.
Somebody like that say, hey man, great job, man. I really like how you're handling, some of the kids out there, like good stuff. Or having Matt Bloom being very complimentary, like you as a wrestler would know, like, man, having somebody that is your superior, give you a nice piece of information or a compliment. Like, we came up so hard and people yelling at us all the time. Hey, you motherfucker. Hey, get up, you fucking asshole. Do this. And to have somebody actually say something nice to you, it's like, whoa. Like, I don't even know as slick as like guys like Triple H and all these guys are. I don't even know if they realize how powerful their compliments are, because they've got a million things to do. They're thinking about a million different people. I don't know if they realize, how amazing it is to get a compliment from one of those dudes. Like, you're just like, whoa, like, I'm not easily jaded. We're all marks, I guess, the wrestlers are the biggest marks, I guess, but in the most professional of mark standpoints, it's fucking awesome to get a compliment from somebody who you look up to, like, like have Undertaker tell you something nice, where it's like, whoa, that's awesome. That's Undertaker. Wow. He just told me nice, like, that's some cool shit.
Yeah. What do you,
question? Go ahead, Andrew.
What do you feel like you could have accomplished with that character if you had the choice of which direction it went into?
I would have liked to dial into. First off, I would have liked to start as a heel. And are you talking about like Kizarny, or you're talking about me now?
Kizarny then. Right? Yeah.
So if left to my own devices, back then as Kizarny, I would have liked to start as a heel. I would have liked to have been really aggressive but fun to watch, and really, really put over my baby faces. Like, still put some really mean heat in a working fashion. Yeah. Put some really mean heat. Really give my baby faces something to prevail from, and do it really, really entertainingly. So if they love to hate you, you're going to be a good guy pretty soon. Like, look at Roddy Piper, most hated guy in '85, most loved guy in '86. He was just such an awesome heel. He was just so fun to hate. You just got to love him. Yeah. So my mission was, and then getting told I'm going to be a babyface, and like, I'm just going to make that work as best I can. So I didn't squawk about it. I didn't complain about it. I didn't roll my eyes or boo-boo face at it. I said, yes, sir. I'll be a good guy if that's what you want. Yes, sir. I just got to wrap my brain around, all right, how am I going to be a good guy for Vince and for this company and for these fans? But if I could have, woulda, shoulda, coulda, if I had my choice, I would have started as a heel. I would have, instead of having I thought that match against MVP, it was 10 minutes. It was fine. It was fun. It was okay. It was a cool match, but it wasn't what that match needed. That match needed me to kick the shit out of somebody in less than 2 minutes. And that's it. Not squeak a victory on a guy on a losing streak after 10 minutes. Sitting in like, I sat in a hold for half that match. And I remember thinking, like, my worker brain is going on overdrive. Going, I can't sit in this hold. Like, that's not what I'm listening to the crowd. Like, that's not what they want. I got to get up and kick the shit out of this dude. I got to get up and try. So I remember getting up, and it came down on the headset, came down on the pipe, saying, hey, get back in that hold. I'm like, fuck, I get back in that hold.
Man.
Yeah.
And so my spidey sense is saying, I shouldn't be in this hold.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, so I'm a good soldier. I do what I'm told. I get back in that hold. And then I start coming up again. They're like, stay back in that hold. And I remember telling the referee, like, as I was fighting my way out of the hold, trying to hit the ropes to do whatever. I'm like, oh, can't hear you. Sorry. What was that? Didn't hear you. And, did whatever I was doing. And like, so again, the match was fine. It was an okay match. It was a cool match, good match. It just wasn't what I think that debut match should have been. Yeah. Again, MVP's great. I love him, but he was on that losing streak in his storyline. So I think what had happened was, Vince was kind of like, why is there Kizarny out yet? And put him somewhere. So I think they scrambled just to go, oh, fuck, well, we could fit him here, I guess. So they just sort of stuffed me into MVP's storyline. I think that's what I have sort of surmised over this time. I don't know, who knows, but that's what I was told by a couple people. So I'm like, okay, so all right, sure. And so, but I think, like, instead of, squeaking out a 10-minute victory over a guy on a losing streak, who is a big dude, MVP's a big guy, give me somebody I could have pawed around for a minute,
Yeah.
Something like my idea was, instead of coming out to, like, I didn't get any input on, no, having said that, I am thoroughly appreciative of my opportunity, and I'm thoroughly appreciative that somebody made a digital Ferris wheel for my Titantron. So I'm still certainly thankful. I'm not motherfucking it at all.
Yeah.
I didn't get any input on that. I guess they just figured, I'm a circus guy, give him a Ferris wheel, whatever. So I wish I woulda, shoulda, coulda. I wish I took kind of more the bull by the horns and said, hey, creative, hey, Vince, hey, Hunter, hey, whoever I got to talk to. I should have been more adamant on offering up ideas. And I did offer ideas. I think I was just maybe a little too docile about it. Like I remember going to some of the writers and saying, hey, guys, I know that I'm the weird guy. I get it. I don't want to step on your toes. I don't want to, whatever. But if you want any ideas, I have ideas. Like I kind of know me. So if you want some ideas, I'm happy to help you out. And they're like, yeah, give us some ideas. So whatever ideas I gave were just kind of, oh, that's a great idea. And they kind of it.
Wow.
Senior.
Yeah, I have a
New Church. That was Wolfie D on the other end. Kayfabe call from Wolfie D while we're on here. So sorry.
Sorry.
I got one for you. Now, what advice would you give an up and coming, worker trying to break into the business? And then once that person breaks into the business of not just indie wrestling, but like say they go up top. They go to Impact, they go to AEW, they go to WWE, Ring of Honor, New Japan. But once they get there, what is your advice to them at staying positive? Because they could get stuck in a limbo. You see guys like Aleister Black who's like stuck in a limbo, you don't really know where his character is going or whatever. What do you give, since you've been there, you've been a coach, you've been a trainer, advice to those young people?
I'm sorry, Wolfie D keeps on blowing up my phone. I don't know what's going on. So something must be important, or he wants one of my toys. I think he wants one of my toys. So what I would do if I was giving advice to a new guy that is just getting a great opportunity. So two of my guys out of our school here in Vegas are Karrion Kross and Zoe Stark. So I'm super proud of them. Chris Bay is at Impact, Zoe and Karrion are at NXT. Just tell them, like, go be you.
That's nice.
Like, take advice. Take all the advice from all the people that want to give you advice. It's fine. Just soak it in, absorb everything, but utilize in your heart of hearts what you feel is useful. And don't just realize some people might give you advice for the wrong reasons or whatever. So you just have to Like, you got to listen to this first and foremost. You got to listen to your heart and your wits.
Yes, sir.
And this is a Jakeism. Jake to this day rips me about Kizarny. He would just say, if you're going to fail, fail as yourself. He goes, you failed as somebody else. And so, like, again, exactly like what I was just saying is, like, I woulda, shoulda, coulda, and this is the advice. I would have gone straight to Vince, be like, Vince, I love this opportunity. I love this company, and thank you so much for having me here. Could I do this? I feel that I could definitely, I'm fully appreciative of this idea, but what if we did this? What do you think about that, boss? And then he could say one of three things. He could say, nope, do it my way. I'm the one signing the checks. Okay. Or he could say, yep, I like your idea better. Let's do that. Or he could say, what about this third idea? A little part of yours, a little part of mine. I'll meet you in the middle. We could do this other thing. I say, okay. So, you know, a squeaky wheel gets the grease. Like, I think don't be a dickhead about it, but be professional, be adamant, be sincere, be humble, and show that you got something to offer. Say, you know, put your shit on the table and bet on yourself. So whether you're working for Cody or Hunter or D'Amore or whomever, you know, and if you get that opportunity, you're there to make that company money. You're there to entertain their fans. You're there to follow your dreams. So do it with your heart on the table. You know, like, so what I would tell people is, don't second guess yourself. Don't, like, well, if I do this move, is that going to be good or this? If you think this is a good idea and it's safe, give it a try. You know, that old cliche of, like, it's better to ask for forgiveness than for permission, because maybe somebody just can't wrap their brain around what you got in your brain. Like, they can't wrap their brain around your brain. So you see something unfolding in your head and nobody else sees it. And that's the joy of you. All of us have that individualistic capability of creativity. So maybe, you know, maybe what Chili Willy thinks, maybe nobody else can paint that picture except Chili Willy or this person or that person. But for Chili to explain it to somebody, go, I don't know. The quickest thing to do is shut it down if you don't understand it or don't get it, or maybe you want to even pilfer it for somebody else. I don't know. Nah, you know, maybe that's not the right time. Or I don't know if that would work. Well, in your heart of hearts, you're like, yeah, that shit will work. I know it. You know, so you have to kind of bring that creative sureness to the table, that creative, like, what's confidence. You know, like right now, again, there's guys that can jump higher than me. There's guys that have bigger, or more abs than me. I don't know if there's anybody better looking than me. That's subjective. I would say, like, whether I'm going to get in that ring, whether we call everything, call nothing, or anything in between, I got you. I'm going to keep you safe. I'm going to make it look like I'm tearing your face off. You know, like, that's the kind of thing I want to bring to the table. And I know I'm going to be safe about it. Like, I am Mrs. fucking Doubtfire out there. As much as I look like I'm destroying you, I am gentle as a mother. You know, and so I think, like, you would know, you know, hey, you see guys on the board that are stiff, you don't want your name next to their name on the board. But if they see somebody that can work, you're like, fuck yeah, I want to work that guy. Right? You know, like, how many times do you ever see your name across from so-and-so, you're like, oh, fuck, not this again. And then you see your name across from this other person. You're like, oh, yes, right, it's a night off. This is going to be awesome. You know, so, like, I'm a positive hypocrite. If I'm your heel, I'll take more of the bumps. If I'm your baby face, I'll take more of the bumps. Like, I'll take the brunt of it. Like, I'm a polite hypocrite. You know, like, I think as a heel, we should bump more. But as a baby face, I want to make that heel look like Darth Vader. So as Luke, I want to take those fucking bumps. You know, and vice versa. As a heel, I look at myself not like Darth, maybe more like Cowboy Bob, where I'm going to take those bumps for that baby face. I'm going to make him look like $1 million. So whether I win, lose, or draw, I look like a bad motherfucker, and this baby face looks like fucking Robin Hood. That's how I feel. So, and my body physically, specifically to me, like, I can endure. I've got a good threshold. I'm flexible. I can take bumps. You know, I can endure. So let me do that for you. Like, if I'm wrestling you, young man, and I got you, Andrew, you know, like, don't worry, you ain't gonna feel a thing. I'll crash and burn. I'll take those fucking bumps. Let's spare your bump card so you can have a 30-year career. You know, I can do that for you.
Okay.
You know, it's like that whole, as silly and as hokey as it sounds, is like that one bit, that Superman movie back in the day, like, I can endure for you. Let me take the pain, you know, like we could tell that story together, and yes, we're going to toot a tango, and yes, we're going to dance, and we're going to give each other to each other, but I can endure for you. Let me get you that heat you need, or let me get you over, depending on a heel or a baby face. Like, as you would know, again, Mr. Chili Willy, sir, you would know, the baby doesn't get over and the heel doesn't get heat. I get you over and you get me my heat. Like, it takes two to tango. So you know, so I would teach that person to get their shit in, not by stuffing all these spots in to get all these spots in. Get your shit in by making that dude or that girl look better than they ever looked before. And if they do the same for you, winner, winner, chicken dinner. That's getting our shit in.
Good match.
Gotcha. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's awesome.
Hey, Sin, not too many people, I don't think know about this, but you were in a Star Trek movie.
Yes, I am. I sure was.
Really?
What was your role in that movie?
I was Evil Space Smurf number 3. I was so in a few years ago, they were doing like this string of different Star Trek pilots that were like all sanctioned from like all like the proper, like the Gene Roddenberry people and all that stuff, whatever. And they had these, I think there was 3 or 4 pilots, and they were going to pick the next franchise out of whichever pilot did the best or whatever.
Oh, wow.
So they picked the one that we did, and I don't think that it ever came up. I think eventually they switched, and then they picked another one or something, Discovery or whatever that new one was with the chick, and she like crossing over like into different dimensions. Whatever that one was is the one that they went with, which is awesome. It was awesome. I'm a big Star Trek and Star Wars mark, so I thoroughly enjoyed watching it. But so the one that we did was like this Star Trek Black Ops kind of a thing, where like they took these criminals. It was kind of like the A-Team or like Leverage, but in Star Trek. Like, they take all these criminals, and basically like, it's basically Star Trek meets Suicide Squad. Like, they take all these diabolical criminals and say, hey, we'll give you a get out of jail free card if you do these Black Op missions for the Federation, because we can't like take credit for these, or else it'll like cause a war with like Klingons or who the fuck ever. So I was basically I was like a soldier, like a foot soldier for this bad guy. And so like I was like a repeat soldier who just kept on getting killed or fighting or whatever. Like, I was like, you know, I was 10 different soldiers in this pilot. It was me and Jim Grell and my buddy JR, who's this big, scary, really awesome biker dude, wrestler. He was a wrestler, a local guy in Vegas, a really good dude, JR Januso. And so they asked me about it. I was buddies with Jason Smith, who is one of the actors in Star Trek. And he's like, hey, man, this would be a really cool part. And like, I think as we're trying to kind of get a leg up on this, competing with these other Star Trek potential franchises with these pilots, I think it would be really cool that since you're a wrestler, you would have really interesting ideas of how to make the action sequences really cool. Oh, okay, I can do that. Yeah, fuck yeah. And I went up to him, when I talked to him and the director, I said, yes, I can do exactly that for you. But if you give me another wrestler or two, we can really make some magic. Because like, if I explain this wrestling stuff like to actors, it might take a minute, you know, because you gotta explain it to them how to do it safely. Remember, like Lita trying to do a Hurricane Rana on a stunt woman, that's what broke her neck. You know, so like, I love Lita, no disrespect to Lita, but like, I mean, she was just assuming the actor or stunt person knew what she was needing from them as far as a base, and the person didn't, and then look what happened. So I'm thinking, if you give me another wrestler, we can double time it, and you know, we can hit each other in a way that, like, you know, actors, like, if I like the camera knows only 2D, so when you're taking different angles, it's not like a live wrestling show where we have to hit each other so close that all the cameras pick it up. Whereas, like, you know, you could hit a guy this far apart. So if I'm here, you know, I do this, here my fist is, and I'm a foot away from it, but the camera just sees, oh, I punched himself in the face, you know, whatever. But if you give me another wrestler, you can save on time and cutting and angles and stuff, because you can run 3 cameras. I can punch you from whatever distance. I'll get it in where you won't feel a thing. But it'll look on point. So I pitched to have Gangrel. So they're like, oh yeah, big scary vampire. That sounds great. Dude from the booth. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, fuck yeah, he'll do it. I said, yeah, he'll do it. He's my buddy. Yeah, I'll sucker him into doing it. I'll trick him with some steak and eggs.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm like, you want to do this, bro? And he's like, Gangrel. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And then we got our other buddy JR, who is again, he's a local wrestler from Vegas, where I was living, where I do live. You know, I just moved there. No, I guess I'd been back and forth from LA to Vegas, so I think I was still technically living in Vegas. But anyway, long story short, so there's 3 wrestlers, so we could kind of show the actors quicker than just one of us could show them. And I remember like the director Tim Russ, who plays Tuvok on like Deep Space Nine and all that stuff. So he was the director, and so he comes up. So he goes, okay. So the main stunt guy, who was super cool, was polite enough, nice enough, humble enough to let me sort of kind of take a front stance on this, because like he was the head guy. So instead of him coming up with the coordination, he's like, yeah, man, this is a great idea. Like you and Gangrel should come up with it. And then like so he totally took a back seat, like on purpose, which was super cool. And I will never forget that. So, but sometimes it takes the stunt guys a little while to choreograph something, whereas wrestlers, we're just like, hey, all right, we'll see you in the ring, we'll do a little this, all right, okay, cool, all right, see you out there. So when you have guys like me and Gangrel, we can kind of do that. So I literally came back up to the director like 20 minutes after the director asked us. He goes, think of about 4 or 5 different sequences. We'll only have time to do a couple of them because we gotta follow the film schedule. So, okay, so he's thinking I'm going to come back to him like the next day or hours from now. So I come up to him like 20 minutes later. I'm like, okay, I got you. I basically made you a menu of stuff. So you pick and choose, and then we can explain it to the actors as to whatever you like, and then we'll do it. How the hell did you do that? I'm like, that's what we do, you know, like we get to a show where, I'm wrestling so-and-so. Okay, hey, well, he does this and I do this. All right, well, what if we did this? Okay, great. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, this little unique thing. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, see you out there. So
exactly.
Yeah. So he goes, well, holy shit. He goes, all right. So he picked a few of the things that we did, and we filmed it, and there you go. So it was fun. But yeah, I think you could see it online. It's what the heck is it called? Star Trek Renegades. I think you could actually see it online. It's pretty cool. It was funny. There was a scene where the director, where Tim Russ says, hey, could you grab this actress by the ankles and kind of drag her like on her belly around the corner, so it looks like one of you big scary monsters is like abducting this like earthling on this spaceship? Because it was very like scary looking, like it was like they did it really dark, like a kind of a not a horror movie, but it was scarier than the average Star Trek. And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. So I just told the little actress, I said, hey, when I pull your ankles, just so I don't like jam out your hips for like torquing you, just kind of like, I told her how to kind of flex the right way and like, you know, how to maneuver her body the right way. And I'll pull you very safely, but I got to get a good grip on you to kind of yank you. So I won't yank you, which would jar her, you know, and that could hurt her. I want to play very gently. So I said, I will give you a yank, but I'll give her a little iggy. I'll give her a little squeeze, on her ankles to let you know, hey, now I'm about to like pull. So just flex up. Once you feel me pulling, you can loosen up and I'll just drag you. And so I yanked this girl like it was like it. I mean, I don't know how to describe it without saying something I shouldn't say. Like it was, I don't know. Again, with everybody being so sensitive these days, but it was something you never want to see a guy do to a girl. Something I would never advocate in real life. I would never ever do this to a woman, a child, an animal. But to this actress, she was good to go. So okay. So I grabbed her by the ankles, and I'm like, okay, you ready, dear? And she's like, yeah, okay, cool. And the director goes, all right, action. And I yanked this chick, and you just see her go, oh shit, right around, like just dragging her nails right around the corner of the spaceship. And then we both kind of pop our heads around the corner, and we hear cut. I'm like, is that okay, Mr. Director, sir? And like everybody on the set was just like, like, holy shit. I know, I'm cool. He's good. He took care of me, you know. And he was actually quite gentle and stuff, but like, you know, like the devil in the details and all that jazz. So, but it was fun. It was definitely a cool, fun experience. And I'm total Star Trek and Star Wars mark. So it was a really cool bucket list thing to do. So there you go.
Nice.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
I remember Gangrel being like, "Man, you really yanked that chick across the spaceship."
Wow.
I got one final question for you, Sid.
Yes, sir.
How much?
I may have one final answer.
How much did you learn from wrestling Jake Roberts, and what's one thing that sticks with you today?
Oh my goodness. I learned so much from Jake over the years. Like, I mean, we've been buddies for, you know, it's got to be over 20 years. And I've lived with him so much. And like, we are so comfortable with each other where like, I'll kind of paint this picture. So Edge and Adam Copeland is two distinct people. Like, Adam is the person who plays Edge. And he is very, very upfront about that. He answers to Adam backstage. He is Adam. He plays Edge. Jake the Snake is the exact opposite. Like, Jake the Snake, Aurelian Smith, it's one and the same. Where me, I kind of split the difference. I'm sort of half Sin, half Nick. So I kind of take from Jake, but I also take from my buddy Edge, who I grew up with. So we're very like we're both very much in the same mindset on so many things. But in that case, I think it's with the psychology of feeling your character. Like, Edge is master psychologist, Jake master psychologist. So I think taking the best of the both worlds and applying that, and like Adam, not just Edge, but Adam is possibly one of half a handful of earthlings that I would follow blindly into battle. I would take a bullet for that dude. He is as close to me as any blood relative.
Wow.
Jake is he's crazy. Jake's thoroughly nuts, and I love Jake, but he is definitely older crazy brother I never had. So Jake and I have never had an ill word to each other. Jake has always had my back. He has helped me more than anybody on this planet ever.
That's awesome.
So I take my experiences from both of these guys in very different ways, sometimes because they're both brilliant, just two completely different mindsets. So like, I think one is Lex Luthor, one is Superman, you know, like both brilliant, just completely both ends of the deal, you know. So with Jake, man, so many car rides, bullshitting in a restaurant, in a hotel room. Like, Jake would always, if he was traveling by himself, he'd get his own room. If I was traveling with him, we would bunk up because we're just like two little kids giggling and bullshitting. You know, we just sit there and tell each other ghost stories all fucking night, you know. And, we just enjoy each other's company. And so, you know, we tell each other jokes, just make each other giggle. But just the psychology that Jake has is just so unparalleled. And I mean, he's taught me so many dirty tricks, so many lost tricks of the lost art, you know, all that stuff. Wow. These tricks from eras that are just gone. And, you know, guys aren't here to tell us those things anymore. And I remember having dinner with Raven quite a while ago, and he sort of kind of put his finger on it in a way that I didn't. He was just like, man, I wish I spent the time with Jake that you did. He's like, you are more than Stone Cold, more than Undertaker, more than DDP, more than anybody he could put his finger on. He's like, you've spent more time, personable time, one-on-one time with Jake. Like, you know him better than anybody. I'm just so jealous at knowledge because I'm the biggest Jake mark ever. This is Raven. And he's like, you are like a walking two-legged portable hard drive of Jake knowledge. He was like, you just have that in your head, comboed with all the other cool shit you've just learned throughout your career. So I'm like, oh, son of a bitch. I kind of didn't look at it like that, you know? And so just like, Jake has shown me so many of the devil in the details. Like, I will be forever thankful. I am forever thankful. And just, it was so weird because he scared the shit out of me as a kid. He was the only dude I ever wondered, where does this dude go when the show is over? Like, I had my brain racing, you know, like the Road Warriors were scary. The Wild Samoans were scary. But Jake was creepy, just got under my skin. And it just made me wonder those questions, you know? And I was telling somebody else this the other day. I remember sitting on a couch, trying to keep my eyes awake, sitting next to Edge and Christian as little kids, watching Saturday's Main Event. and it was on late at night in Canada. And next thing you know, we see Jake DDTing Steamboat on the concrete. And I remember they flipped out, so worried about Steamboat, where I was just thinking, hey, I want to be that guy, not that guy. You know, I was hooked. And then years later, getting to be his opponent, then getting to be, you know, his tag partner, his opponent, his student, and his brother, his buddy, you know, has been cool. So now he's
awesome.
He's Uncle Ori, you know, he's Jake, he's my brother, which is so cool, which weirdly transcends all the wonderful wrestling knowledge gift that he has given me. Like, you know, if I could, you know, say that I've got a really good pal, but I'd have to cash in all of the knowledge he gave me. I cashed it in a heartbeat, even though it was super knowledgeable, but like to have my cake and eat it too. So I've got this wonderful pal that has my back more than just about anybody, and get the greatest mind to open up to me for the last 20 years and just give me all these secrets and tricks and ideas and just all these scenarios and all these bit of working bits, you know, like, I mean, he can show it. Remember he showed me one night how to DQ the other guy if I felt like, you know, just stuff like that. Just funny things, you know, like just lost art, tricks of the trade that just nobody knows how to do these days, you know?
Yeah.
And so learning from Jake has been wonderful, has been funny, has been challenging, has been creatively, like, stimulating is just the wrong word. Like, just, I mean, it's like wanting to learn how to play the guitar and having Elvis saying, "Here, come on over here, man. Let me teach you." Is invaluable. And if I can give some of that to the people that I coach or that I player coach with, like, I can kind of like cap off the question, and I'll get out of your hair and tell you this, like, to be a player coach or to be a hands-on coach in the ring, for me, I give you the third food group. So, like, you know, you as a young wrestler, you can watch it and you can see it and you can hear it. So you can hear it with your ears and perceive. You can see it with your eyes and perceive. You cannot touch it. So that illusion, especially if done well, should and could and will feel very differently than you see it, than you hear it. So that lost art is in that touch. So I might not, you know, touch you with that forearm across your face, but it's gonna look like I freaking killed you. So there's just all these little tricks, like any clown can just, pardon the pun, any clown can just yoke another dude because that's what they think it is, because that's what they saw, that's what they heard. Yeah, that ain't what they felt. Dude, how many times, legit, like, how many times you ever lock up with somebody? Like, I say this all the time. I lock up with some young dude. I'm like, I owe you money. Like, why are you so snug? Like, loosen up, you little fuck. Look, you're built like $1 million. You got muscles in places I don't even have places. Like, just bend your knees, dip your elbows, make a gnarly face, shake your leg. You know, but be loosey-goosey. That way we can work with each other. There you go. You can tell them that all day, but until you touch them and they feel that, they don't know that. Yeah. You know, so I exactly. After about every match, guys would be like, "Son of a bitch, I didn't know it could be like that." I'm like, "Yeah, motherfucker." Right. They're like, I would get that funny complimentary insult of like somebody would come up to me after a match and be like, "Man," they look over the both shoulders, make sure nobody's listening to them, like, "I thought you were gonna beat the shit out of me in there. Holy fuck!" And you were like, "The latest dude I've never been in the ring with." I'm like, "Yeah, because I know how to work, you fuck." You know,
right? That's it. You know, that's wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling, right? Yeah, God forbid. It's not. There is no such thing as wrestling psychology. It's psychology applied to wrestling. Learn how to tell a story. Yeah. Learn how to be physical. Use your instincts. Harness your instincts. Channel your instincts. Tell that story. Put over the other dude. You know, don't crowd them. Make one good shot is better than 10 whiffy little beanbag shots. Yeah. You know, all these things. You know, there's so much that the young dudes don't know. And I think if there's an open line of communication, if the young guys open their ears and receive knowledge from us old farts, and if the old farts are cool enough to give that knowledge, and they can work together, you know, I think peanut butter and jelly make an awesome sandwich. That's right. But if the old timers want to hoard their knowledge and the young guys don't want to hear it, because what do you know anyway, old man? then there's a breach in communication, and nobody fucking gets better.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 22 years into this. I'm 38 years a martial artist. I still learn every fucking day. Every day, I'm humble enough to keep my eyes and ears open. I'm always learning. You know, always. I'll watch a match. I'm maybe tape reviewing a match on Snake Pit, and I said, oh, I never thought of that. That's cool. I'm gonna put that in my back pocket, or you know, some such. So if you're always humble and like if you're that young guy that just wants to hear like, hey, how was my match, coach? Oh, it was great. They don't want to hear critique. They just want to have their they want their ego stroked. But I would way rather want criticism. If I want to follow my dreams, I don't want to phone that shit in. I want to do it the best that I can do it. So if you got a tip, I'll fucking take it. You know, and I'm not that know-it-all that runs around in the locker room saying, hey, you should have done this, you could have done that. Like, if somebody comes up to me and asks me, I'll give them my opinion.
Oh yeah.
But otherwise, like, I'm always looking and watching. Like, same, like guys like Gangrel, you always find him at the curtain. You always find him watching the matches. Does he need to watch his matches? No. But is he a cool ass baller motherfucker? Yeah. This shit? Yeah. Do I love this shit? Yep. Am I always at the curtain? I try to be. You know, unless like some young dude or young chick is picking my brain about something from a match previous, that might be just about the only reason why I wouldn't be behind the behind the curtain. You know. And otherwise, like, I love this shit, and I just want to see our industry flourish for another, you know, 1,000 years. Until we as a species discard violence and just become some kind of weird monks or something.
No doubt, man. Well, I appreciate.
I think being a coach is being a good student, and vice versa.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Like that Miyagi over Cobra Kai. Like, I always joke and say I'm Johnny from Cobra Kai because I'm gruff, and I feel like Demolition Man a lot. And you know, like you said, like, old is gruff, young is soft, and all that jazz. Like, I think sometimes yes, sometimes no. There's definitely a ton of very awesome, talented young people. So I don't want to sound like I'm an ageist or anything. I'm not. I'm definitely that bridge between old school and new school. Again, I think there's so many wonderful things from the younger talent given to the older talent, and the older talent to the younger talent. Again, peanut butter and jelly, you know, makes an awesome sandwich.
There you go.
That's what I got. That's me in a nutshell. There you go.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it, man.
Yes.
I want to say, man, it's very nice meeting you.
Oh yes.
Sure.
Yes. Very nice meeting you.
I never met Edge at all, but I did go to school with, I was in class there with Beth Phoenix. So if you see her, please tell her Chili Willie said hello. And also, if you see Raven, tell him Chili Willie said hello. So, but I really appreciate your knowledge, man, your stories and everything.
Oh, yes.
And,
thank you for having me.
It was awesome. It was awesome. Nice meeting you.
Thank you very much. It was great meeting you guys, and thank you very much for having me on. Let me run my app. Appreciate it.
Yes. Can't wait to see you.
Where can people find you?
That's right.
All of my social media, my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram is all SINN BOHDI, SINNBODHI. Sin with 2 N's, Bodhi like the tree. And my YouTube channel is Freak Show Wrestling. I think there's a couple of weird little offshoots of it, but mine is the one with the little cartoon eyeball icon. So it's got like all sorts of promos and matches and like funny road stories and all sorts of silly shit like that.
Nice. Well, we appreciate it, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you
maybe
again,
we
son.
could be a tag team. Maybe I could be Silly Willie, you know.
There you go.
We got to do that.
All right. Well, you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you very much for having me. And to all the young wrestlers and old wrestlers and wrestling fans, be safe, be kind, be smart.
There you go.
Thank you, brother.